Of the tools that we're going to be using today, and once again, you don't have to have these tools. You can do all this with just the basic tools, but these items will make it a lot easier. It'll make all your builds a lot easier. If you're going to do a lot of builds, you might want to invest in some of these tools. Of course, I got a little light here. It's nice for being able to see your solder points on your FC and things like that, to make sure everything has a good connection, nothing's crossed or anything like that. Wire cutters, needle nose pliers, these, man, I tell you, I use this more than anything. They're really good for holding your wires in place, getting in tight spots, all that stuff. You will use the heck out of these if you get some. A good set of wire strippers that will do small sizes. Man, you will use these. These are very handy. A 2mm hex head bit, of course. Razor blade. These liquid soldering flux pins are great. I love them for my FCs, especially for your power boards. You know, you just rub them across them. You don't have to have, use Q-tips and whatever you usually use with your regular flux. Doesn't get everywhere. Just puts a thin coating on it. When you put your soldering iron to it, it doesn't splatter all over the board. If you have something like this, like $4. I wouldn't. I mean, I love it. I love it. I won't be without them again. All these stuff like this that you don't see every day, I will put links to in the description if you want to order them. Most of this stuff came off Amazon. I'm also going to use some of this just to dress it up a little bit. I put this around most of my wires, ESCs, things like that. Dresses it up. Plus, if your blades come in contact with your wires, it does keep them from cutting them and messing stuff up as much. This is a 1/4 inch, and I'll put a link to this where you can get it online too. It comes in like 20-foot rolls, and it's like $10 a roll. So I mean, it's pretty cheap, and that's from ordering from here in the States. It's a lot cheaper than that if you get it from China, but you gotta wait forever for it. And last but not least, and this may be the most important thing that you buy, I wish I'd have got one a long time ago, is a digital temperature controlled soldering gun. I got this thing for like $30 on Amazon. You can't beat it. Great, works great. Comes with 5 different heads. Comes with like 3 of these real fine tipped. This is what you really want when you're soldering those pins into your FC, or if you're just wiring it direct to the FC, your wires. These are great, work great. Welcome back to David Stanley FPV. Today we've got a build of the LHI 220 quadcopter. A few things that you'll notice right away that are a little different than what you probably have in your kit is these 30 amp LITTLEBEE'S that I have right here. And the kit comes with the 20 amp, which is quite a bit smaller in size. Perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with them. They'll do everything you want it to do. It's just I had these 30 amps, so I'm going to use them instead. But everything else is exactly the same. Installation's exactly the same. Setup's all the same. So that's the main difference, other than my FPV antenna. I'm using a TBS antenna instead of the one that comes with it. But first off, of course, you got your motors. I've already assembled the flight controller, put the pins in there. Really simple to do. I've got another video on my page showing how to do this if you aren't familiar with it, but it's simple. You just stick them in there, solder all the points, and then you're done. Power distribution board, man, I've already used these before. They are really good. Really like them. Really like having the plug on the side instead of in the back. It makes it a whole lot easier with your wires. You always have your strap in the middle usually. You always try to center your weight on the quad and as close to the frame as possible, because you want all the weight centered, and the majority of your weight is your battery. So with it like this, you know, instead of having the plug sticking out the back, you can kind of have it centered. You got room to turn your wires around this way, and that way they're all strapped in tight, and then just plug it in instead of having to move your battery according to what size it is closer to the back so that you can plug it in. It's a lot nicer, makes everything work better. To save time, I've already went ahead and assembled the frame. It's really simple. You can see here, you know, you just put the that little X piece, that's where you start with. Put your 4 middle screws in, line your arms up, and then put your top plate on and start screwing it together. It's really simple. If you notice here, see how part of the arm is shiny, part of it's dull? It's because I've already went ahead and super glued the edges, which makes your carbon fiber hold together a lot better when you crash into things, especially concrete, stuff like that. It will bust this up, start splintering. If you have the ends that are more than likely going to come in contact with something super glued, they just hold together better over time. Okay, let's go ahead and now we're going to mount the ESCs. Like I said, I have the 30 amp, but the 20 amps work the exact same way. Now, before we mount this is the front where these little cutouts are, okay? That's what you're supposed to be using for your camera, to hold your camera in place. Before we mount this, I do one more little step here and put these covers on. I'll show you what that looks like here. Now let's put this on. The power board is next. You can put this to either side. I like it over here because I'm used to having my port on the other side, but not 100%. As you can see, I didn't mention it earlier, but I always remove the negative from the ESC. You don't need it. So I always desolder it straight off the back of the ESC, because it's just more wires that you got to keep up with, and like I said, it's not needed. Easy way to remember which one of these wires, you can also see I've got red and red, is because I try to make everything match basically, but the way you can remember which side is actually negative, which side's positive, the side that has the signal wire is positive. So And there we go. Believe we're good there. Obviously, you want to come back before you ever connect power and check everything. Make sure positive, negative is connected, positive, negative. I mean, check every wire before you connect power to it. And then, even after that, it's good to have magnifying glass and this one of these little lights that you can look, make sure there's not any not a little serrated wire or anything cross connecting that's going to give you your magic white smoke whenever you connect a battery to it and burn something up, and then you got to take everything off and replace parts, and it costs money, and you got to order the parts. It takes time. It's just a hassle. It's a lot easier spending extra 20-30 minutes going over everything in detail to make sure you haven't messed anything up or cross connected anything or have everything. I mean, always double, triple check to make sure nothing is cross connected. Okay, before we can mount the FC, there's a few more things that we need to do first. Go ahead and put my VTX on here. Power that. Power your VTX to the 12 volt. This VTX works off of 7 to 20 or 24 volts, something like that. So obviously 5 volts will not work. So you got to do it to 12. Your camera runs off of 5, so you definitely don't want to connect your camera to 12. Normally, with using your normal wiring, I believe the camera is actually fed from here, so you won't have this wire, because the VTX automatically changes the 12 to 5 and sends it to the camera. But I've used it on another build, and so I'm going to actually run it into the buzzer on the FC to power my camera. If you have telemetry on your radio and your receiver, then you're going to need a direct connection to a 12 volt as well. We're going to have it mounted like this. Your VBAT is right here, so I'm going to connect it right here and come out the side so I can plug it right in.